Good evening, guys, and welcome to another video by Russia UK. Right, for the past week or so, there's been only one topic on the news to do with this pandemic, obviously, and that is PPE, personal protective equipment. Now, the people they bring to the forefront to illustrate this are mainly the healthcare professions, i.e., the doctors, the nurses. Either they're in hospitals or in care homes. Now, these are people what they call the frontline people. Now, these are the people who are not staying home like the whole nation is, and they are at the forefront, saving lives for those who have been infected. And the stories media are highlighting currently are the real shortage of these PPE items. And at the same time, the accountability of lives that are being lost due to neglect by higher management. Obviously, the difficult hurdle for the NHS faces was the actual shortage of these items. The amount of items available, the whole supply network. These host of things needed to be done, and sadly, they have been caught, wrong-footed. So here's what this video is all about. If we Uber drivers are classed as frontline support workers by our app-based companies or even our base, the question remains, are they, the companies, providing us with adequate PPE to do the job? Now, what we are seeing instead are the likes of Uber using this as a marketing strategy. The whole, their whole concept is quite good, because what they are saying, we are providing free transportation for the frontline doctors and nurses, and by providing free transport for them to go to work and back. But here's what they are doing. At the same time, are they actually neglecting, their drivers? The Uber drivers, the likes of you and me. And this is not just Uber. The whole structure of this trade needs to be actually scrutinized. Um, and for instance, let's take the council, for instance. They have been non-existent. Their ability to process applications or renewals during this pandemic has been way below par. Their ability to offer guidance or even protect the drivers by offering PPE equipments to drivers who are working, out currently, are non-existent. If you look at the medical arm of the government, they are searching day and night for products for their frontline staff. Why isn't our council doing anything to help their drivers? The council has completely failed in its duty to offer any sort of PPE to its drivers, and they should be held accountable. Now, you all would have had an email from Uber. I think it's the next one. Yeah, there it is. Telling you that they are offering mask and hand sanitizers to his drivers. Now, the whole process of obtaining these items isn't straightforward, and some drivers are having to pay postage as well. Listen, my advice, if you're really desperate for these items, is to go and buy them from a chemist. The most reliable I've found is to be Lord's Chemist. They seem to be quite reasonable in that sense. But what it seems to me is that Uber is using this more as an advertising campaign. They want to create an impression of how generous and considerate the whole company is. They are also completely, they have completely also failed in the distribution of the PPE. They said that they get this done, within a timely fashion, but that has been completely false. Some of us are, well, I don't think I haven't come across anyone who have actually received it yet. Now, please bear this in mind also. This is a company, we just have my tea again. This is a company that has a world renowned board of directors who have made their names in distribution and logistics, and somehow come to sourcing or distributing of PPE, they seem to be completely lost. Believe me, if they wanted to, if they concentrated more on obtaining PPE through the contacts these board members have, which is a very good contact, in no time every driver would have had some sort of PPE. But instead, they're happy just rolling out the marketing dice. Now, also at the same time, let's look at these local bases. They will face a very difficult and challenging times, which they are now during this pandemic. If this lockdown carries on for a prolonged period, some will fold. I doubt it. Not all will survive this. And also, sadly, they have also had nothing. They have really done nothing towards providing any sort of PPE to their drivers, and this is quite disturbing as well. Let me just show you the picture. There you are. Now, some of these companies have what they've done here, right? This plastic protective screens which gets mounted in back of your vehicles, and how I urged you drivers not to have it fitted. And you know what? Some companies have deployed agents on their behalf to have these fitted. And more sickening as well is that drivers are paying or contributing in some cases 40, 50 pounds to have these fitted, which is really unexcusable request, as these are the drivers who have paid rent all year round, and now you're charging them to have these fitted. Where is your decency? And especially also drivers are struggling. So, can you not even see that? You just want drivers back on the road regardless of their safety. You should be really ashamed. But again, guys, I've warned you enough times, and I know I've attracted a lot of haters because of this. These screens are not watertight. They're not 100% safe. And also, you will be liable for any bodily harm this may cause. The council hasn't given the go-ahead for this, nor have the insurance companies. Now, if you could imagine, if you were to apply an emergency brake and some young kid or some adult, who were not wearing seatbelt, rear of your car, and they went through that plastic material head first. Can you imagine that? The insurance company, I'll tell you one thing, they'll put their hands up and say, we don't cover that. That is entirely up to the driver. And, you will be left on your own to fight this case. Anyway, I want to wrap the video up. And basically what I'm saying, I've concluded really is that the authorities and app companies, they have been a big letdown. And this was a time really when they could have thrived to keep drivers, really informed and, keep them safe during driving through these difficult times, with the likes of providing PPEs. But, that's what it is, I'm afraid. And finally, from previous videos, you've probably seen me, telling you guys when I will be considering going back to work. Now, this is me, I want to make it clear, it's not for everyone. And it seems, that we could be approaching this quite soon. And as you can see there, I'm just using a very, very simple indicator. All I'm looking for is first day when this has to be government announcement. It's not from any announcement going around Facebook or WhatsApp or whatever. So the first day has to be less than 500 deaths. So I know you're saying, we're talking about this so frankly, but this is what it is. And so if we get day one, which is showing less than 500 death, we're going to get ready. And what we're going to do is wait for a confirmation day two. And if that day two comes out with, for instance, 450 day one, and if he comes out with 430 the next day, I'll really seriously think about going back to work. I think, I mean, it's still a gamble, don't get me wrong, but obviously we need to make a decision somewhere down the line when we're going to go back to work. So that's what I'm looking for. But he has to be consecutive days as well. He has to be day one, day two. So you can't have day one with 450, day two with 900, and day three with 420. He has to be lower 2 days in a row. Anyway, thanks for taking your time out to listen to the video, and all I could say to you guys is, please stay safe. Bye bye now.